that before. Here we go. Maybe I should lower this actually. E. Alright, that's fine, that's fine. Let's see if YouTube and Twitch agree that we're online. Twitch agrees. Twitch remembers. Pepperidge Farm remembers. YouTube agrees. Thank you, YouTube. Here we go. So, I'm gonna look into two little things before I start on the thing I actually want to start on. One is I want to add clones like this to clone selection. Wait, but these aren't clones. Okay, so that's good. That's good. Because these are clones, and I basically want to be able to double-click this and not select all the ones with the same color, but instead select everything with the same relative position within the clone region, right? And of course, clones aren't actually defined. So I'm basically just going to look at gray cells and then check the solution to see if they're clones, which might give false positives. So this is going to be just an initial experimental implementation. So if I search for clone, I added this code recently and then I commented it out because I didn't think it was ready to bring in. So let's uncomment it for a moment. Let's do this. And then if I add this to here, right, we should be able to refresh this and it should now go through clone cosmetic. It's actually good to log that out in case it runs more than once. Okay, here we go. So, it should give me this variable. And it should also let me... Okay, so this basically says which clones are valid. All right. So basically what it does, it first filters all of these cells, then it finds all the possible values within. Now it doesn't work for multiple clones, so that's fine. This is not going to be a primary feature. I just want to bring the code in so it's not just sitting there unused. So if clones are valid is true, right? And I'm pretty sure this one should come back with clones valid false. It's also true. Okay, now we have to look a little bit closer. We'll have to look at the clone values. Clones valid. Oh, okay. False. True. All right. So it found a clone that supposedly consists of these 5 digits. So I think clones should get us the relative positions. Okay. All right. So clone cells are these. Right. So these are our clone cells. So now we want to like cross-reference them by value, I suppose. I gotta look up how these cosmetics work. What exactly do they generate? So type RC cosmetic. So I sell cosmetic. Okay, one sec. So how is it using sell cosmetic? select cosmetics. Puzzle, cell, tool. Select cosmetics. Get cosmetics. So, it says get cosmetics. Type, row, column. So cosmetic type. Okay, so it finds all the cosmetics. Puzzle, cosmetic. That are the same type as this cell and that are matching their row and column. Okay. Filters out hidden cosmetics. And then it just checks, okay, cosmetic equals what I'm looking for. All right. So it checks by cosmetic and type. And how does it check cosmetic? It checks by a bunch of properties. Okay, so then I think we kind of want to do something differently here. A cage cosmetic, perhaps? Okay, no, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So the cosmetic can just be a string. So we basically need to create a unique string that identifies that particular clone. And in this case, the clone is fully identified by just the value. Again, it doesn't work on multiple clone regions, and it doesn't work on clones where the same value can appear more than once. Cool. All right. So basically, clone's valid. So we basically want to do for each clone value or val of clone vals. Right? And before I do a res push, I'm going to do a console log. Console log. Cosmetic. So it'll be a cell cosmetic. 2RC of... How does 2RC work? Um, 2RC. URC is a global function, isn't it? Okay. Do we even need RC? We kind of sort of do. All right, so we actually need to loop through. Okay, so we gotta get the clone cells in a sorted fashion, and we can. So these 3 lines. So we'll just say something like, I'm gonna get cells, val. Val clone cells, and I'll just be these 3 items. So they'll be sorted. Then we'll just say so if we do this, val clone cells, that should still work the same way. Then we don't need that. And then we'll just do that. And then here, we'll do val cosmetic, val get cells, val clone cells. Right? So then for each digit, it should get us that. Okay. Except, no, wait, that's fine. We actually need the other data here. 1 second, let me just double check if chat is working. All right, well, type something in chat to let me know if chat is working. How about that? All right, so we're filtering to match by value, and then we're sorting. Okay, so clone cells has already been reduced, so clone cells doesn't actually have a reference to the original parts. Okay. So clone cells, we kind of want to have the part in here. Boom. Right. So now the third element should be the actual part reference. Okay, so then this is fine. It's just, what is the second part? Is the index. Okay, so it's just converting RC to index. Okay, that's fine. And solution index part. Yeah, okay. Clone parts. Let me move this here. And change this to a let, just so we kind of distinguishing operational variables from things that aren't going to change throughout the execution of this function here. Okay. Sure I didn't break it. All right. So now we've got to convert each of these into one of these. Okay. So can I just do a flat map on these? And then just do instead of a nested loop? Can I do, I do clone vals dot flat map. And just val into that. Clones. Okay. Now, do we need here we don't have the identifier that we need to generate, right? Because that gets generated over here. So we needed to add another thing here, which is the index value. Can we do that here? Basically, all we really need to do is... no, we can't do it here because it needs to be done per digit. Okay, so we want to do a nested loop after all, right? So for cell off get cell, right? If I look at the cells here, but we won't have the access to the first one of the array. All right, so let's just say this, let cells equals cells, boom, cells, right? Cells, and we can do cells 0 as a, and we gotta do the index relative to that. So that's the reference index for each of these. So we'll just do cell 1 is the index minus 1. So it'll be 0, 14, 44, 58, 0, 14, 44, 58. So that'll be the identifier within the clone region. Ah, wait, no, we don't need that. We can just use the value. God damn it, I forgot. All right, we don't need that. We don't need that. So we can go back to... We can go back to doing that. I think. I forgot. So anyway, all of the... Yeah, okay, so we can just do that. Okay. So we'll just do this. So we have the value, IDX, and part. Right. And then we can just do that. And now we just convert these two to clone data. So we'll just return one of these. Okay, so it's a cell cosmetic. We're converting what to RC? Part.center. Right. And the cosmetic will be that'll be just val. And I don't think we need the second part at all. We don't have a second part here. And that's it. Right? Now, if I click on that, ta-da, right? And then this one shouldn't break. Yeah. Because it's not a clone region. So I'm going to put this in. I'm not going to tell anybody about it. And I'm just going to keep an eye on it over the next couple of clone puzzles that I come across. Clones. Is there anything else here we can do without? Make clone ID. Val, clone ID. Clones. Clone ID. Can I put the clone, blah, blah, blah. No. What does it do for the clone ID? It just subtracts these and then converts it to a string. Do I need to convert it to a string? Oh, yeah. Okay, so what it does is it takes... Okay, now I remember. All right. So it basically says, for each cell in the clone, subtract the index of the first cell. Sorry, for each set of digits in all the clones, right? So let's say for every one in all the clones, take all the positions of ones, subtract all the position of the first one. So we'll basically, this will be always position 0, and then this will be relative to that, right? So they will all, because the relative positions are the same, all of these clones will get the same number, all of these will get the same number, all of these will get 0, right? And then I take that array, convert it to a string, and use that as our ID. Because then those 5 numbers should be always the same. And the set of 5 numbers should uniquely identify a clone region. And in the future, when I come across a puzzle with, like, let's say multiple colored clones, I can potentially use that to discover all these other clones. Okay, I think that's really all I need to do here. And we can just push that into beta, and then I'll just keep an eye on it. And this shouldn't have any of this anymore now. Right. Let's do a quick sanity check on the diff. So we removed the comments. We'll simplify this algorithm a bit, made it a tiny little bit reusable. RC2 index. Do we actually need that? Center to RC. Like, can I just combine these? Seems so silly. If I do this here and here, I can literally just get rid of that completely. Because the center is already an area, it just takes that area in. Yeah, that's so just in case you're wondering what it's doing is, so I can double click these and say, okay, like I determined that this is a 9, which I know because I've solved the puzzle, right? And like you see, you can just cycle through all the digits. You can see, okay, it's got to be a 9. Boom. All right. Let's see if there's any other simplifications we can do. Make clone ID. Okay, filter clone part. Now that's the kind of the function that's going to be the trickiest, because that's the one that we're going to have to adjust as we find different cosmetic syntax that people use for clones. This should be doing that. And this I'd like to make a function as well. So can we combine this with something else? I use that a couple places, huh? Something like const part to clone. And it should just take a part, turn it into this little clone structure here. Is there, can I make this a one-liner? I could by just duplicating this. Yeah, I'm just going to duplicate that. Great. It's potentially not really better, and I might in the future change it back again. Like, is there a way of... Or, you know what? I'll do it the other way around. I'll get rid of the function. Yeah, and this will also only work for 9x9s. And this happens very early on, so we won't have access to the potential proper size of the puzzle yet. We'd have to calculate it from scratch, so it's not great. It's not great for universality, right? Then we can just do this, right? And we don't have to execute the function twice. Boom, boom. And then we just get rid of that. And then we'll execute that in the map over here. Boom, like that. And then, can we get rid of these functions? So many tiny little functions here. All these lets. How about that? All right, that's good for now. I'll have to revisit. To do handle other sizes besides 9x9. To do handle multiple several distinct clones. And then to do handle clones with non-unique clones with non-unique digits. Those are the 3 limitations on this right now. And somehow we're not in our playlist anymore. Can we just go here? All right. Okay, I think that's fine. Just make sure it's all right. Let me play this quickly. I think this is today's gas. I haven't actually played this yet. So this is basically Sudoku, but with slightly different positions. It's very similar in principle, like in how you play it, I suppose. It's just that these aren't clone regions. But selecting the same digits, the same positions wouldn't actually make sense here anyways. And that's just standard cosmetic selections then. Works as designed. I'm gonna refresh, make sure I'm running the code that I've just modified. So for example, 1, 2 can't be in here, so they're gonna be in here. 8 can't be here and can't be here, so it's gotta be there. 4, 7 can't be there. 4 is here, but it's not there, so it's there. 5 and 6 gotta be here. Right. 3 and 4. 3 goes here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 8. And 7, 8. So 7 goes here. Can't be there. 7 goes there. And do we have something similar here? 1, 7, 8. 6, 7. Okay, let me see what we're missing here. This one sees 1. Doesn't... Oh, okay, what are we missing here? 2, 3, and 9. Okay. This one is got 1 digit fewer gone than the others. 3, 4, 2. Can't be a 2. That's a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 or 9. 8 or 9. 1 is in here. 8 or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the 9. Okay, so there's a 9 here. There's a 9 here, so this has got to be a 9. There's got to be a 9 here, so it's not there. There's got to be a 9 here, so it's not there. So, one of these is a 9. What about, okay, this one is missing 2, 3. 4 and 5. Okay, wait a second. These are 4 and 8. 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 goes here. 7, 8, 9. So we have 5 and 9 into these two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 9. 6, 7, 9. Okay. This one is done now. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 1. Okay. 1 and 5. This can't be a 5. So the 1 goes up here. The 5 goes up here, sorry. 1 and 5. What are our other options now? 5 can't be here because it's here. Okay. 1. Alright, 1s are Dunzo. 2. 2 here. One of these is a 2. One of these 2 is a 2. That's a 2. Alright. 3. 3 can't be here. That's a 3. That means this has got to be a 7. Alright. 3. Here or there. Okay. 4. 5. 6. There's gotta be a 6 here. Not there. 7. Oh, there's gotta be a 7 here, so that can't be a 7. Not useful. 8. 8 here. 8 goes there. 6 goes there. 9. So there's got to be 9 in these two. Okay, so that's a 9 here. And then this gives us the 5. So this can't be... oh. Let's not be hasty. That's a 9. Makes this a 9. 9 here. 9 here and here. And here. So these are from 2 and 3. they're still not done. And these are also from 2. 3 here, 2 here, 3 here. We had that 2 over here looking in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 2 are 6 or 7. Surely these must be limited now. 6 here, 7, 6, 7. All right, now it's basically done. Okay. Toying with me. Or was it here and here? 5s, 6s, 8, 6, 8, 5, 3, and 2, 2, 2. Cool. 7 minutes. It feels like that wasn't great. Oh, that wasn't even the one from today. Where did I see this then? I don't know. I just came across it. It's not today's gas. All right, never mind. Okay. Let us do the bump of the versions. Whoop. All right, make sure that's all in the right places. Whoop. Did first try at clone cosmetic selection. All right. All right. The other little thing I wanted to check out before I get is I've talked to people about, somebody asked me about adding white space around a puzzle to for markings. And puzzle setters can do that. They can set a puzzle such that there's basically a blank row column and so on and so forth. And I was thinking, like, you could really write code that modifies the puzzle data rather than something in the app itself. I'm gonna take a quick stab if it's quick, but if it's gonna take too long, I'm not gonna worry about it. Because we need to kind of extract the puzzle data and do a bunch of stuff, right? So we'll want to do get puzzle ID. So whoop. We have a puzzle ID. And then we'll do fetch puzzle. Puzzle loader. I feel like there's an L missing. I haven't done this in browser code in a while. Wait, fetch puzzle PID, right? Nope, nope, nope. Puzzle loader, right? And then we should have. We don't want to just do parse puzzle. We want to. So I'd have to write it again for SCL and for FPUZ data. Maybe I'm not going to bother right now. Or I could do it on just the final data inside the thing. But it'll be slightly less useful. Let's give it a quick. Let's do parse puzzle. The reason I'm hesitant about parse puzzle is because parse puzzle also decodes fpuzzle's data. But in this case, that wouldn't matter because we're not talking about modifying the puzzle data properly. We're just temporarily modifying them within the browser, right? Parse puzzle dot parse puzzle data. All right. All right. So what we'd have to do now is we'd have to modify cells. We'd have to modify regions. So regions, we mostly would have to just add one to everything, right? And then once we're done with all of this, we need to reload the data into the thing. All right, I'm not going to bother with that. I think structurally it's relatively simple. It's just a bit of legwork because you have to update all the cell identifiers and you'll have to update all the features. And that's probably going to be the annoying part because you'll have to, you know, I'll have to remember basically every positional argument So for example, anything that kind of hacks SVG data in, I'd have to either detect and find it and update it, or it'll just won't work, right? I mean, if it's something a user uses on their own, like installs as an extension in their browser with a push button and they just do it, then it would be okay if it doesn't work on every puzzle, like on very complex puzzles. But then that kind of feature you'd kind of only need for very complex puzzles. Because on the renderer side, it would be easy because we could just, after, you know, if we can, the other option obviously would be to try to do it not on the raw puzzle data before it gets rendered, but on the post-render data, right? Basically go in there and modify things and push things around. All right, I'm not going to worry about that right now. That doesn't, it doesn't look like it's going to yield enough results. So now we're going to look at something I've been sort of started working on ages ago and kind of off and on have been working from time to time. And that is basically... Okay, I'll first say what the final result in this case is of the first use of this tool. Well, the tool is basically just pre-calculated thumbnails, right? So rather than dynamically generating them in an API with a lot of terrible complexities in the back end, I figured if I can just offline render all the puzzles in an, you know, kind of like on my machine and then just upload them and just have them all cached, right? Or at least have them cached for the most popular ones or whatever, right? That at least it's a first pass at this problem, right? And one of the uses of this would be to compare puzzles to kind of see if a puzzle exists in the database or if two puzzles are similar, things like that, right? So I've started work on this, and I think the work is it inside SudokuPad.app? Part of it would be, right? And the other part... So there's two parts to it. There's basically a server component, which basically says, hey, you know, these are the thumbnails we have, and these are the ones we need. And then a client component, here we go, thumbnail client, which basically says, okay, server, give me something to render. And then the server says, you know, I need these 100 puzzles rendered or whatever, right? So this would be on the demo, and then thumbnail client, right? And I don't remember how far this went. And the job of the thumbnail client is basically to run an instance of the engine and then just load in the puzzles provided by the server. So let's see how far I took that last time. I think I had a test run, so something could already be working. So there should be a thumbnail status, right? So if we look at what happens on the network tab, there should be an API call here. And this API call comes back with a bunch of puzzles that need rendering. Right? So this thing currently, okay, so it'll pull 5. Okay. And the thumbnail client does what exactly? It okay, it gets an error. Fair enough, fair enough. All right, so it fetches the puzzle. Thumbs. No, proof. Is this where the thumbs are getting generated? Okay, let's skip that here for a sec. I'm pretty sure this had already worked when I last tested this, so I don't know if I broke something. And we need to kind of clean up the settings, and maybe we'll make some, as we develop this, we'll make some adjustments to the engine to make rendering, independent puzzle rendering, a bit easier, because it's a bit of a pain in the ass at the moment. Undefined setting added after init. What? Where? Add, import, export setting. Cool color. Okay. Ready to process. Setting added after init. What's going on here? Because I'm hijacking the startup process, basically trying to do my own thing. We need to... I think it shouldn't be cached at the moment, actually, these files. So what happens, right? So handle DOM content loaded. We get to here. We have some timer. let's set up some of these things. So right now, the engine is just not designed to be run outside of the normal user interface, normal flow. So it's not surprising. This isn't trivial. Yeah, so for example, settings like what's happening, where are these calls coming from, right? App init. Is that a promise? Can I wait? Can I await that? No. Okay, so these are all happening after app.init. So they're probably happening. In fact, init app here happens all the way up here. So these are all happening after things are get initialized and all this stuff. So clearly, tool color. Why add import export setting? Tool color. What is tool color doing so special? Oh, is it loading the colors and all that stuff? That's a bit weird. Should be causing any errors. I mean, it's not really an error. Let's see. 416. 392. 392 add import export setting. Okay, so it's okay. The color tool here is trying to set to add the elements in the settings thing, and the system currently is not really designed for dynamically adding and removing settings, and that's why I have this warning here. But this doesn't happen, or this warning doesn't come up when you normally run the site. So obviously there's something I'm doing differently, or I just broke something. Oh, okay. Our clone thing isn't clean. Can I be sneaky here? Because I already pushed it, didn't I? Okay, never mind. Error properties reading filter. Okay, so I'm guessing there's a circumstance where something isn't available. 3374 or 5. Puzzle underlays. Okay, so puzzle direct meta. Underlays puzzle. All right. I think that's the only one. Okay. No big deal. I'm not actually going to patch that because odds are I'm going to have another release today anyways, and I didn't actually deploy this. Okay, so here, this code doesn't have a problem. So does that mean that this happens at a different time? So on just a plain puzzle, this happens here, and here, I'm guessing it happens later. So on this one, it happens tool color 392 417. 392 417. But why? Setting added after init. Okay, so let's have a look at where that is. Setting added after init. Oops. If I do ensemble.warn framework.add setting opts. Let's see where this gets called from. So during normal flow, yeah. So we have a bunch of early settings getting set. And and then we're down here. Okay, and then here, most of these don't happen early on. I wonder if it's because of my hijacking of the DOM content loaded event. So let's have a quick look where that normally happens, because maybe this delays certain things, right? So if I do this, so that happens here. And then here that happens, well, it doesn't happen at all. It happens before starting up. Yeah. Is it that... maybe I need this before the app init. Init. App.init. So what if I do this here? Is that it? Ah, that's it. Okay. Cool. That's fine. Boop. Okay. Let's just make sure we don't have anything spurious in here. That's just the change we did before. And we probably don't need that then. Cool. All right, that was all. There's some async stuff that I need to unwind. Okay. So now maybe that means that was also the reason why the thumbnail wasn't ready in time or something. Thumbnailer is not defined. Thumbnailer is not defined. Did I? Oh, wait. Yeah, this is not something I commented out. This was... So I don't know how far I don't remember exactly how far I got. I thought I had seen thumbnails. Okay, so this does the fetch on our thumbnail status, which takes a second, which is not great. Because of the database query. But again, because I'm running it offline, I might even run it off on an offline copy of the database. So it shouldn't harm the server at all. Okay, so that works. And that gets us, in this case, 5 thumbnails, right? Now, what this does, it doesn't... this one does PNGs. I think the other thing is I'll probably have... Yeah, so there's basically 2 things I want to do. Is I want to have a bulk thumbnail generator like this. So something I can run if I need to catch up. If let's say I bulk import some puzzles and I need to create thumbnails for them, right? So something that just goes to the server and says, okay, give me some thumbnails to create. Here are the thumbnails. Let's do it again. And it'll do it until I'll stop it, or until there are no more thumbnails to do. The other thing is I want to be able to, anytime a puzzle gets loaded that doesn't have a thumbnail, I want to be able to attach some data to it to basically notify the browser, hey, we would appreciate a thumbnail for that, and then the browser can just generate the thumbnail and send it back, right? The browser is already rendering the image. All right. So this does that. Let's clean up the spammy stuff here. So we don't want to output that. We probably don't want to output the times for each individual puzzle. So we'll have a line processing. Title, short ID, format, puzzle data. We'll probably just take that out of this thing here. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, labels them, that's fine. Then we have grid solution size mismatch. I guess it's on this one. (21 by 21). Wait. Divide the grid into regions so that no 2 regions of the same size share an edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is this because... because it has the non-solution grid bits, okay. Alright, that should really be just an error, a warning. But that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Also, this is looking for most recent or oldest. I don't know. Okay, so we have this. Let's see. So for example, it doesn't take a long time to actually generate the thumbnails. Let's see. Let's start with really small ones, so we can test kind of large numbers and see how that works out. The options for the thumbnails are set earlier on here somewhere. Statically, yeah. Because I'll probably send them from the server. So let's make them really small. Something like this, right? Then hopefully they'll get run much more quickly. And the image width and height should be thumb ops width and height. Width and height. Oop. Or something like that, right? And these took longer than the big ones before. But that's probably just variance. Yeah, it's just variance. Okay. And if we say want to do more, so it took 900 milliseconds to the query. More shouldn't really take longer on the database side. In fact, it looks like it's doing the same, right? And then we have that kind of thing going on. All right. And the question is, you know, can I handle errors, etc., right? Okay, so now this would be the PNG data. Then the question is, do I want to send the PNG data down as base64 or literally just do a file upload, right? Let's have a quick look at the size of this. What's going on with music? Music? Very quiet. Oh, it's just the end of a song. Here we go, next one. So, let us do a little summary. We'll do thumbs.map. We'll take the PNG data, right? PNG.length, or just reduce sum PNG sum plus PNG 0, right? PNG size. So what would be the size of, you know, however many there are? PNG. Reduce. It's accumulator current, no? Map reduce. And the end reduce. Reduce accumulator current value. Current value sum plus png.length. Let's make it fewer so it doesn't take as long to run the test. I'm super impatient. So if I do map, that should just give us a bunch of numbers, right? Yes. Here, 0 should be the sum. I think I need to do that. Yeah, okay, here we go. That's our sum. Each PNG total size. So let's do 500. So the query would take, only took a second, right? No problem. Obviously loading in the puzzles is what takes the most time. Does a bunch of decoding. It's very inefficient, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Processing. So it took 11 seconds to do 500 puzzles. So that's about a throughput of, divided by, let's just do that. Boom. Divided by 500. That's in milliseconds, right? So it's 22.94 milliseconds. So it's 23 milliseconds per puzzle. Or the other way around, 500 divided by that, times 1000. So it's 43 puzzles per second. Okay, that's fine. 43 puzzles per second, so that's 200,000. 200,000 divided by 43 divided by 60. So it'll be an hour and a half for all of the puzzles. Okay, that's fine. And it's probably faster if we parallelize it and yada yada. And the total size now of 500 puzzle is about 2 megabytes. So we'll just do that again. Divided by 500 times 200,123. Divided by 1025. Divided by 1025 to 4. So that's 730 megabytes roughly for all of them. Okay, that's totally doable. Now that's for tiny 64 by 64 puzzles, right? Let's also do that total size. Boom. Total size. Average size divided by thumbs.length. Round. Thumbs.length. All right. I don't know if I can speed it up by like making this invisible or something. But that's something we can look into then. What are the tricks to make it faster, etc. And will it be faster if I run 2 of these in parallel, for example? So for example, if I just open a second browser window, so if I do this, and this, and I press enter here and refresh there, will these combined be faster than each one individually? In other words, can my computer run these multiple of these in parallel on multiple processors? And it should be able to, right? So 9.5 seconds. And this one is 10 seconds. So roughly less even than the single one did before. So that's the point, is like I should be able to make a page with like 10 windows, and it should be running 10 of these at the same time. And then the whole thing will be done in a couple of minutes, right? The tricky bit will be to track everything and record results correctly and handle errors and all that sort of stuff. But average size here is 3.8. These numbers should be the same. Okay. So now we need to think about what we're going to do on the server side. Also, is uploading this a problem? Because maybe I don't want to upload it as base64 encoded, right? Like if I make it smaller, it'll be easier. Let's have a quick run with a high resolution. 256 by 256 I think would be good for a thumbnail. 512 by 512 would be ideal. But we can also potentially then deal with mess with compression settings and things like that. And we can start looking at these sort of these errors and warnings and see if we can modify them a bit and maybe not have them output. Like this, for example. Yeah, like this has a correct solution. So what is... because I saw like a huge mismatch here. Grid, solution 81. Solution 81 is just not true on this puzzle. Why? Wait a second. Why is this error happening here but not over there? Grid solution mismatch. That's interesting. So this is something that's only happening here where I'm opening multiple puzzles. So I'm suspecting this is actually an artifact of running multiple puzzles. So maybe something like the fog gets enabled by a fog puzzle and then does things on puzzles that aren't fog puzzles. Interesting. We'll look into that in a sec. Average size 17 kilobytes versus average size 3.4 kilobytes. So if we do this, average size this times 200 divided by 1024 divided by 1024. So that's 3.3 gigabytes. Okay, that's closer to what I had calculated off the top of my head a couple of days ago. All right. So, I think if I just run 3 puzzles, if I do 5, refresh that. Okay, if we do 3, we get the group. Okay. All right, let's have a look at that. So I'm wondering if maybe it's looking at the data of the previous puzzle or something. E2141, grid resolution mismatch. So, .log, rows/cols, rows/cols, solution.length. Rows. Rules call solution. This seems more than okay, because it's calling this more than once per puzzle. All right, fair enough. So at this point, okay, so what happens is at this point, it hasn't loaded the solution yet. So this is getting called before it loads the solution. Uh-huh. So when is the solution getting loaded? Uh-huh. And why does this not happen? So I want to see if I isolate it to just, if I only load this puzzle. So I basically want to do limit 3. So instead of these two, I want to have skip 2, limit 1, and see if I can get precisely that one puzzle. So if I get only that puzzle, this doesn't happen. And if I say skip 1, limit 2, then it happens. Let's do the skip 2, limit 1 again. I just want to compare exactly which of these gets... So we have... Okay, that's not a thing. We have 1, 2, 3. So there's like an extra one that happens here. Because this only happens 3 times, and it happens 3 times after the error. So this seems like a weird in-between the two puzzles kind of thing. No, there's, wait, 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 for the first one, 3 for the second one, and there's this extra one in between. And it happens right after processing. All right, let's figure out where exactly this one comes from. So it starts to get thumbnail. Get min max handle fog feature. If I do a console log warn on this here. Skip 1, limit 2. So this get min max, normally they're getting called from here, handle fog feature. The first one, is that the one from handle fog feature? Second one is here. The third one is here. Second, third. And if I do the 2-1, then we never have the one from handle fog. No, we have the one from handle fog feature. 1, 2, 3, 4. But at this point, we don't get the error. Can I this dot has solution gives a different result. Huh. If I do this. Slingshot full range phone cannot read property of undefined reading length. Solution doesn't have a property. So the solution hasn't been loaded yet. Is this just a bollocks timing thing? Okay, but then that would indicate that I'm not resetting the before I'm loading the next puzzle. I basically have to reset those things. Because, yeah. It thinks it has a solution when in reality it's the solution of the previous puzzle. Okay, so at least I know how to kind of work around that. But why is this happening so early? Like, handle fog feature seems to be happening before load puzzle happens. Except I know it doesn't. It just seems to happen before this line. Okay, all right. I'm starting to get my head around this. Find load puzzle. Because we know that inside load puzzle, handle fog feature gets called down here somewhere. Handle fog feature. Wait, not inside here. Find handle fog feature. So, if I run this, right? And convert puzzle here. And basically what happens is handle fog feature seems to be executed before we set up the solution value. But where does the solution value get set up? Region, controls, info, puzzle headers, puzzle ID, converted solution, dot solution equals. Solution equals. Parse dot solution. Solution E, current puzzle. Direct puzzle metadata. No. That's right. Metadata.solution, converted puzzle solution.trim. Is this it? When does that run? Does that run after? No, it's running before. Init metadata. And then get min max. 3716. 3765. 3765. Init metadata. Puzzle. And now has solution. Current puzzle solution. So part of the problem is that has solution looks at current puzzle, and current puzzle at this point hasn't been set up yet. We were just creating it, right? So the real problem is that we... No, there's two problems. The fact that the error doesn't happen because the solution doesn't exist yet, it doesn't do that check, just means that the number at that point is inaccurate. So we need to look at, yeah, because it's trying to calculate. Okay, so at this point, yeah, we cannot use get min max if yeah, we just cannot use get min max at that point. It's just not ready yet. Shoot. It's not reliable at all. Can we pass in a puzzle? No. Should we do this? Puzzle equals current puzzle. This dot current puzzle. No. Can we do this? Right? Because then then we could pass a puzzle in here. And then in fog handle blah blah blah, right? So if we go here, get min max handle fog feature. Oh, we could do have both. The thing is, solution might still not be available at that point. Let's have a look. Handle fog feature. Do these already have solution? Dot solution. Dot solution. Is either one of those set at this point? Converted puzzle dot solution is. So if we do this, will that work? So now get min max gets the solution, and here it has the right solution. Okay, so this should be the correct fix. Let's clean up my logging here. Make sure I don't have a total mess here. Two, 1, 7, 8. 3, 7, 1, 4. And 3, 7, 33. So this change plus this change should fix that. And now these are two different changes in the same art. I should have done the patch. All right. Let's just pretend that's not going on right now. But that fixes that issue. And we can now go back to, let's say, trying 10. And now we have different errors. Uh-oh. Okay. Can we look at this directly? If we skip 3, limit 2, is that gonna give us the error? No. Skip 2, limit 2. Skip 2, limit 2. Skip 2, limit 1. No. Skip 2, limit 2. Skip 3, limit 2 doesn't happen. Skip 1, limit 2. Doesn't happen either. Oh, this is so weird. Processing, facing of the void. Skip 2, limit 3. Happens. Skip 2, limit 2. It happens. So it probably is a related problem, but a slightly different one. God damn it. Okay. Well, this is kind of part of the reasons I'm doing these things. It'll let me find issues in the existing code that are hidden at the moment, the way the runtime is designed. It's designed to be very tolerant to errors for this reason. So, fog feature. Let's see. 2139279. So we're back here. Properties of undefined reading length. If we take this, and what do we get? So what are we trying to read length from? 2139, 2139, grid size solution dot length. Solution. And let me clone this. It has metadata. So this doesn't have a solution. Okay. So does has solution come back as true? Oh, because has solution. What does has solution even look at? Oh, because we're not passing puzzle in here. Okay. Yeah. Related, same issue. That should fix it. Okay. So now, did I add any other logging? Any other logging? Nope. So now we should be able to run more than, yeah, run 10 puzzles again. Okay, let's run 100. All right. Okay. In fact, we got rid of all the errors. Let's run 1,000. It's struggling. I hope the browser tab won't have memory issues or what, or something. There's a good stress test as well. All right. So 26 seconds for 1,000 puzzles. So it's just over 26 milliseconds per puzzle. Not too bad, really. The average size is similar to what we had seen on the 500. And 17 megabytes, right, for these PNGs. Now that's base64 encoded, so they might be smaller if they're not base64 encoded. Okay, we definitely don't want to have to wait this long, so let's do it short again. Did it take longer on the database query? No, still around a second. Cool. Okay, so that's actually very promising. Let's have a quick trial with a multi-frame thing. So let me just create a second HTML file, thumbnail client 2.html. Right. So we'll just do this. And then we'll just add 100 of these in there. So let's see. Let's start with 10. So let's do 100 puzzles, and we'll start 10. So we'll do something like this. For let I equal 0, I smaller than 100, I plus plus, and document.create let iframe equals object.assign create element iframe, and an iframe has a source value, and the source value will be this. And I think that's really it. And then we'll just say document.body.append. Boom. So I do this, and I'll just change this to client 2. Insufficient. All right. Okay. That's interesting. Let's do 5 and 5. Oh, 100. Yeah, maybe 100 was a bit too much. Okay. Sorry if the stream is stuttering. I'm killing my computer here. We want to disable the whole Sven peak and all that. I think I've done this in the importer. So I think these things here. So no pause and start, height, Sven peak. So we can add all of these in here. Let URL. That goes in here. URL. We'll do height Sven peak equals 1. We'll do no pause and start. Might be all we need. So, I think I'll have to see how I can manage the actual timing here. But if I do this, so that should open 10 with 5 puzzles each, and they finish pretty quickly. So if we do 10 with 100 puzzles each, I'm hoping we basically have to wait for the time it takes to do 100, more or less. Like, it definitely feels sluggisher. And then obviously, in the final version, we'd have some sort of communication thing going on between the frames and the parent and all that. All right. And they're all finished. And I'm guessing it took 20 seconds in total. Actually, can I just switch on the timestamps and see them without having to rerun it? All right, so we started at 20:22:10 and finished at 20:22:31. So roughly 21 seconds, and we've done 100 tabs by... Sorry, 100 puzzles by 10 tabs. So that's 1,000 puzzles. So it's 20 milliseconds per. All right. I mean, doing more than 10 at a time is probably pushing it. Let's compare with 5. Let's compare with 5. Definitely moves through them faster. But will it actually generate more thumbnails in less time? That's the question, right? Not very articulate today. My brain is struggling. All right. Did I not have timestamps on? Not on this tab, did I? All right. So 23:29.1, 23:29.1. 23, 47.8. 47.9 actually, minus 29.1 was it? 29.1 minus 29.1. So 18 seconds. So actually it's faster than 20 seconds. Which is to be expected. But now we have to double that to make up for it. And see if... So this is 19 seconds, right? If it gets significantly slower. You'd think so, because it takes twice as long to make 200 thumbnails. So it doesn't gain us that much. That means that likely my CPU is actually the bottleneck here. I wonder if it's basically 1 tab per core. I also don't know how Chrome, I mean, Chrome should be pretty good at... Yeah, in fact, it's pretty blocked. But I'm wondering, because Chrome might also be using, like, the CPU, the GPU, and it might even be limited there. If it uses GPU acceleration. Yeah, 42 seconds. So this took exactly twice as long. So now the question is, if I double the number of tabs, does it take significantly longer than 42 seconds for each of them? I mean, they roughly finish all at the same time, right? So if I now make this 20 tabs and rerun this, we might run into problems with just running out memory and resources and all that. Although memory, we're okay. Does this use more cores than before? It does. It really doesn't look like it. I mean, obviously tops this one, and this one. And these go up a bit. But this one is still shallow. I mean, I also don't know which of these are P cores and E cores and all that stuff. And I wonder if the stream rendering doesn't exactly help here. It doesn't use... Okay, it doesn't use that GPU, but that's fine. Okay, so this one is, I think, is just from the streaming, so we can probably ignore that. So the question is now, we're doing 4 times as many, because here I think we only did 1, 2... how many did we do? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we did 10, and now we did 20. I thought we did 5 before. Yeah. Oops. Oh, it's still going. Minimizing the tab might also not be in my favor. Oh. What error is that? Ah, okay. Negative width. Rectangles. Somebody created a lot of versions of this Christmas tree. Holy macaroni. All right. So that's 100 seconds. So it's a minute and a half. So it's still roughly double the time. So now the question is, if I do... So that's 20 by 200. So that's 4,000 in 100 seconds. I don't think it can do 4,000 on 1 tab. So it's probably a relatively small number of tabs that I can use to parallelize this, to make it faster. Probably around between 5 or 10. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Doesn't even have to be that, you know, crazy. Like, we don't really need to be pushing limits, actually. So I actually, can I roll these settings into this thing here? Because ideally I wouldn't rely on these. So I'm modifying settings in here somewhere. Settings, setting, set setting. Can I temp set settings from in here? If I go, have a look at framework, set setting, temp, temp, temp settings, init settings, default settings, from entry settings, opts, query settings, get query settings. Not really. So we probably want to have these. I'm just going to make myself a little reminder. Href. If I do this, maybe, nope. If I do that, is this gonna mess with the rendering? Hopefully not. I could do I could just do JavaScript with a redirect, right? So I can just say script, boom, document dot location dot search if document dot location. So let US equals. Does that include the question mark? Yes. So we'll just call it this. Boom. Location dot search if location is not equal to QS. I just jumped. Equals QS. So then we don't need that. So if I go to this without the, it should just do that. Cool. Okay, I think the next step, and I don't think I'm going to get to that today, but the next step is to basically look at the database. And let's do that right now. And basically track the thumbnails. Now, do I want to, I could smush additional data into puzzle info, and maybe that's what I'll do for now. Or I could just handle it completely separately, because the thumbnails might be running on a, could be just on a separate server, right? Just a dumb file server or something like that. And we need, each of these will have a thumbnail, right? And we'll probably need to, what kind of information do we want, right? We want to store the date when it was created, because that lets us invalidate it, right? I mean, it's associated with the hash. So the important thing is that the thumbnail, every time, well, the hash should never change. Because a different hash means a new puzzle, right? I don't think existing puzzles ever get updated. The hashes are really their ID. And the other thing is, I don't think I've gone very far into actually receiving the puzzles. Let me just do JavaScript upload image. We'll probably just want to do a... Yeah, the question is, how do we get that data up there? Because... JavaScript upload image from canvas. From canvas data. From image tag. Like, the problem is actually how to get the data out of the image tag in a format that I can upload as if it's a file. It's an HTML element. The data URI that you created at var data URL equals data URL is an image file. Except it's not. Upload image from image tag as binary, not base 64. Oh my god. All right, that's some old stuff. JavaScript upload image as binary. PNG. Data into... No, the other way around. Jesus, freaking Google. God. It's always giving me the opposite of what I'm looking for. Hmm? Okay, that's just... Huh? Wait, what? A lot of binary data which will throw an error with JavaScript. So my idea was, what if we just put all the image data in a large comment? Okay, that's something I'm going to read later because that sounds entertaining. Yeah, I want to upload... No, good. Damn it. All right. Upload image as binary data. Image binary using image check API. And receiving binary data web APIs. Image upload converting to raw binary. The response type property, the exclamation can be set to change the expected response type. I don't want a response. I want to send. Array buffer request response. No, sending binary data. The send method of the XML has been extended to enable easy transmission of binary data by accepting an array buffer or blah 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 blah. Okay. How do we get array buffer from a... Okay, so HTML image data to binary array buffer PNG. Upload. Not displaying. Why is displaying? God damn it. Minus displaying. Come on, Google. Saving image in Node.js using fetch with array buffer. No, not Node.js. How to convert basics into a temporary file. All right. I think I'm not going to do that. I think I'm just going to, for now, just uploading. I'll just upload the base64 data. I'm running it locally anyway, so it's not really a bandwidth issue. Hey, Marushia, how are you doing? Thank you, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So let's see. What we end up with at the end of the thing. Let's do a test version with smaller, 5. That's fine. And let's also output that. Okay, so this is what we end up with. So it outputs these. So I can identify them via short IDs, I guess. What do we start with? Processing res.puzzles. Res.puzzles. Res. Okay. Let puzzles was res. And we'll do that just so I can double check how they're identified. And if I can, okay, so they're getting their full IDs here. Okay. So we'll just use the IDs, I guess. ID. So then in the end here, we'll basically want to send them back. We don't need any of the other stuff. We'll just do that. Let's do a small version again, so for testing we don't screw ourselves. In fact, for the plagiarism stuff, we'll probably need a low resolution image anyways. Oh no, broken? How so? Xmas decoration. Is it, did you send it out for repairs or? You're doing something on your own. All right, let's see. So we could really just take this and send that back up as is. It's fairly compact, doesn't have too much overhead. I mean, we don't necessarily need the IDs. We could do it with order, but this makes our lives a bit easier, and we can do it out of order, and we can deduplicate it on the server. All right. So then on the server, we need another API call for thumbnails. Thumbnail. Do we do thumbnail? We'll do /status like that. And then here it'll be thumbnail status. Right, that'll still work. Yep. To repair it, my buddy's sending me a new cable kit. Hope that does it. The seizures won't turn on when I try to boot it. Oh, that's always super scary. I have that problem with my phone at the moment where every now and then it just shuts down. And recently I was traveling and it didn't start up for 2 days, which was very annoying when you're, you know, trying to pay with it and things like that and have your tickets on it. Oh, Micro Center. Yeah, I've never lived in a country where I trusted other people more with computer hardware than myself. So I've always had to fix my own stuff. I had some gnarly issues over the years. All right, so I've worked, oh my God, in the 90s, my first year at university, I worked at a computer shop for a bit, and I learned how crap their service was. So I never trusted them ever again. After seeing how they work on the inside, the people were so incompetent. I hope that's very different nowadays. I hope something like Micro Center I've heard good things about, so they should be all right. Yeah. I'm so dependent on my tech that I always have backup computers. Like I have a laptop, for example. I don't really use. I haven't used it since my office job 4 years ago, but I kind of keep it up to date, so I know that if something happens to my computer, I can continue on the laptop if I need to. You know, I have my old computer, which is still sitting next to my new one, and still every now and then I'll boot it up and update it and make sure everything's still running. You know, I have the Mac laptop. You know, I wouldn't be able to do everything on it, but in an emergency, you know, I could transfer some data and continue. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's see. So we need a second API call, we said. Sorry, my brain is slowing down. It's almost 9 in the evening. I've had a long weekend. I didn't sleep till late yesterday. Thumbnail. Upload. Handle. Upload. Right. Upload. It is not implemented. All right, so if we now look at API thumbnail upload. I mean, if I'm doing it locally, well, I still have to upload it somewhere, right? Disabling Windows Auto Update. It's been a pain in my backside for a while. It only recently rebooted while it was hibernated because I don't switch my computer off, but like hibernate it should be like off, but Windows just starts it up, reboots, and I have so much unsafe open work and it just wipes it all. It's infuriating. I've gone through so many things. I've done all the tricks, but nowadays, unfortunately, the internet has gone really stupid. Everything is just AI garbage. So you get the same 10 responses, none of which work. And I hope I didn't break my registry by trying them all at the same time. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, the best I guess you can do is literally unplugging it, like hibernate it and unplug it when you're not using it. I mean, it generally doesn't try it when I'm using it. It's just it does it in the off hours. One solution which I personally don't want to do, I found, is somebody wrote a script that basically every hour it updates the hours. You know, so you can say, which is such a stupid concept. So you can tell it to not update in a certain period, but only like up to 16 hours in a day or something. So somebody wrote a script that basically every hour runs and then changes that by an hour. So it's always the next 16 hours, right? So as long as you run the computer at least once a day, it shouldn't restart. But it's, my God, it's so ridiculous. In sleep. Well, personally, I don't do that, but I don't know what you mean by seize on boot up. Like if you have a hardware problem. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Problem is you don't know for sure if it's a hardware problem or if it's like a configuration issue or something like that either. Like what I would do is I would basically try to build a second boot medium, like a USB stick or something, and try to boot it with a clean install and see if it has the same problem. But I always have spares. I always have second computers. I have, you know, multiples of everything. I'm too dependent on my computer. All right. So now we need to basically do this down here. Probably before we do that. So, well, we can actually do it after. Upload. So, now that's not just a res. We need options. We need method post. And then we need to remind ourselves how that works. Exactly. All right. Thumbs. Thumbnails. If I do this. Oop. We'll do that. And then that. Internal LEDs. Well, there's lots of internal, like there's different types, and if it might be flashing an error code at you. So you might have to look up the documentation for your motherboard and see what the error code means, and it should tell you. It shouldn't be it should never be in a position to not be getting enough power and still be starting up. Yeah, have a look at your motherboard. Motherboard post diagnosis LED codes. You probably want to look at postcodes for your motherboard, and each kind of flash should have a certain meaning, and it might tell you. I mean, normally it'll I mean, some motherboards have like a digit display nowadays. Back in the days, it used to be beeping. We used to have a little speaker inside. Don't know exactly how they do it nowadays. But if that error happens before it like displays anything on screen, it's usually a low-level issue. Oh, well, that doesn't mean anything. You should just unplug those. Those don't tell you anything about your computer. Because you don't know what your, you know, Corsair or whoever does your RGB, how their system works, right? They have all their own behavior. And it definitely is not an indication of a power problem. You need to look at the codes and the errors that your motherboard produces, right? But, you know, without, like, it's very specific to your specific setup, your motherboard, your power supply, all this sort of stuff, right? Like, the only advice I can give you is to unplug everything that you don't need to start it up. Ideally, make a boot, like a USB stick, a boot USB stick on your, make it on your laptop. Unplug all your hard drives, unplug your GPU, unplug everything that you don't need to run your computer, and see if you can boot it up from the USB stick. If that works without problems, then you know it's not your motherboard, it's not your memory, it's not your processor, right? If it still has the same problem, then at least you know it's not your GPU, it's not your, you know, the other things. And if you unplug your GPU and so on, then you also, if it then just works, okay, maybe then it is a power problem. I mean, I seriously doubt it, but, you know, it's always a possibility, I guess. I hate that under Windows, there's a gap between Windows and, like, the background shines through and creates, like, bright lines in the middle of dark gray windows for no bloody reason. What the hell? All right, we need to decode the posted data. And I have a function up here somewhere. Get something, get request body. Boom, get request body. So we should be able to do this. Let's see. Hey, look at that. Okay, so it comes through. We do want to convert this to the raw data, though. Convert base 64 image data to binary Node.js. Because we actually want to save this as a file. I don't think I want to put that in the database. Ah, okay. So let thumb equals let thumb equals request JSON thumbnails. All right, so const thumbnails equals request JSON. Right. And we'll do this .png and see what that gets us here. Can I make this faster? For testing. So now the question is, if I save this as a file, will this do we have FFP here? Right. Will this give us a valid PNG file? Ah, one sec. I was just looking at it. File name. Okay. That file name. Dear. Write replay. We want to pass that in here. Actually, we probably want to put in the data directory here directly. So we should be able to say data thumbs. We'll do ./data/thumbs, right? And that's here. That'll be thumb deer. Thumb deer. All right, and then we'll get that. We'll get this. And I'm just gonna output it because I'm not quite sure what I get. Path.resolve. Is that how it works? After argument list. Okay. All right. We have the buffer. Dub deer is not defined. Deer. Deer. Test.png. All right. That looks good. Do we have to do the mkdir? No, we're not. We're just going to manually create that. Brain. Not braining. All right. And now, in theory, we can just write the file. Buff. Do we need WTF8 encoding? It's not a text file. Can I just do that? JavaScript write binary file. Why wouldn't you be able to do that from your laptop? Sure, why you would need anything special for that. Write byte array to binary file in blah blah blah. All right. To a file, not as ATN. Write file. The piece of code, binary. So I just pass in binary. Okay. Is this a valid? Nope. So, Node.js base64 PNG write file invalid. Base64 data, base64 write file. Use this approach. Come from a client request. Image data split. File will look like this. Ways to use write file with encoding up to basic after stripping out the meta information. So if I, all right, so if I do, so it can do the base 64 decoding for me. If I say thumb.png dot split, comma 1, and we don't do that. And now it's a valid image file. Okay. Cool. So the question is, how big does it have to be to get us sort of a more or less reliable thumbprint of the images? Let's also let's try 64 by 64. At least you'll be able to recognize the puzzle then, I imagine. Well, I've never done marketing via videos or streaming. Send it through C#. What? Oh, in your app. All right, fair enough. But you're talking about my app. So now, that one will be a bit bigger. So if we label them by the IDs, I mean, this is just a little bit of a initial test. We obviously can't hope, Windows will poop its pants if you put 200,000 files in one folder, so we need to organize them a little bit. So if we do for off thumbnails const underscore ID png of thumbnails, right? Right. And then this will be underscore ID thumb underscore, the dollar should be there, .png, that's our file name, right? And then this will be png split blah blah blah. Don't need that. And that should do all three. Let's make it 4. Let's make it 5. Let's get exciting here. If I do this and then open this folder. All right, so now we have 5 thumbnails as images. Oh, nope. And now the question is, we can actually do that right now without updating the database, because we can literally check that these images exist. So let me just run 1,000. Let me run 100 before I go crazy. See what that looks like. And then we can do the opposite. We can check which files already exist. So like putting 100 files down, it doesn't take much. So it's really not a big deal. How big are these? Together. 269 kilobytes. All right. Let's try something. Image finger. JavaScript image comparison. Pixel match. So the smallest, simplest, and fast JavaScript pixel level image comparison library, originally created to compare screenshots and tests. Features accurate anti-alias pixel detection and perceptual color difference metrics. That sounds actually really good. Does this work on files or does this work on image tags? Okay. Because if I need to load them into a browser first, it kind of defeats our purpose. Cross origin images, fetch image. I mean, I don't really want to run that in the browser. Node.js image. To be honest, we don't actually necessarily need to do this in Node.js either. We can image similarity score. Bulk image similarity score. Person algorithm. Can I do this? Import CV2. I've worked with CV2 before. npm CV2. That's, well, I've worked with OpenCV. What is CV2 exactly? One of the greatest techniques about similarity images mean structural similarity. Ooh, if I first convert images to you using it and then run the test, note the score difference. This can be used to tell the original different. Ooh, interesting. VMAF. Let's have a quick looky-loo on this. So if we take this command, basically one of the steps, basically I want to be able to identify or compare puzzles by similarity. And one of the scoring techniques I'm going to use are visual similarity, because it abstracts away all the way, because the problem is trying to compare raw data is difficult because you can express the exact same puzzle with many, like an infinite number of ways of how the JSON is structured. So I feel like two puzzles that look identical have a very high likelihood of being identical. And since I need to build thumbnails for other purposes anyways, I'm working on that right now. And for more details, it's, some of the mathematicians that work with me and work on Project 9x9 are planning to have things like, you know, puzzles as coursework, and they want to be able to identify if a submitted puzzle comes from, you know, Logic Masters Germany, for example. So it'll also be a kind of a plagiarism check, I guess, to some extent. So if I do something like this, where are the images? I closed my folder for some reason. I don't know why I do it sometimes. So if I look at, let's say, this one. Actually, let's get two that are similar or the same. And for me personally, also I want to be able to find puzzles that are or different data sets that are likely the same puzzle. Like these two look the same, and I wouldn't be surprised if they are the same puzzle, but they might have a corrected spelling in the rule set, or one might have a solution, the other one doesn't, right? So once I find puzzles that look the same, I can then look further at the data and to see if, like, how they're different, right? Or are they likely to be the same puzzle or not, right? So let's see. So if we do this with this one, don't know why we want to do that. These are 64 by 64. Different pose. We'll just say thumb A, and then we'll do this this one as thumb B. Let me see if I have FFmpeg available here. If I do that, is this going to create a UF file for me? I'm not familiar with these. Oh, that takes quite a bit. That's probably not the technique I would want to use. And then I would use a VMAF score. VMAF. Video Multi-Method Assessment Fusion is an Emmy-winning perceptual video quality assessment algorithm for the software package includes standalone C library. Okay. First convert images to it. For this sample, they both look quite similar. Okay, so that, all right, let's give it a quick try. Can I install this quickly? Command line tool, Python library, page. Configure. Use it with under the FFmpeg. Okay, so I need to clone this. Do we have installation? How to build VMAF for Windows. perform new releases. Okay, nope. So MSys2 needed. Oh, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Do I want to do that? Pac-Man. What? Okay, I don't want to do that right now. I'm also interested in like file dupe finders. So let me see. I think I might have I have like duplicate file finder. So if I look, nope, if I look in here, can I? Thumbs, include, exclude, add, go. So, I mean, the first approximation would be to say, are they literally identical files? And since I'm using the same method to create them, this seems to work surprisingly well. So this would get me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would get me sort of the groups. Now, obviously, I'd like to do this as a CLI and so on. But something like this might be very fast. Much faster than any algorithm I implement myself. We're trying to make them... You need pix matching? Matching. I feel like that's a hard problem without an LM, since you can potentially game it with slight color variations. Yeah, but you can't game it with multiple heuristics, right? And that's the thing, right? How much effort are they going to put in? This is mostly as a deterrent, right? So at some point, the effort of making the puzzle for the exam will be easier than trying to pass on an existing puzzle as their own. And you'd have to know what techniques they use, right? They wouldn't know how we're doing it. I'm not going to stream all the details. And it might, you know, I'll do different checks. For example, all the puzzles with the same solution, right? It'll be very hard to change the solution, you know? So they'll, like, the image check won't be the first line of defense, you know? For example, if they make a puzzle that's the same, but has a different solution, it'll be broken. So that won't be good for their returning thing. Red v blue testing? I don't know. Let me see. I mean, I could, like, it looks like basic image identity is actually pretty good already. Like for what I would need, like a heuristic amongst many to find potential groups of puzzles, right? For example, the other day I was looking at like in last week's weekly stats, right? There's a puzzle with 552 instances, right? So if we go into my database and look for puzzles that have Donut Panic in their title, here, if we say title regex Donut Panic, right? And we'll do that. So that gets 688 results. And if we look at a couple of these, actually I did it on plausible, didn't I? So if I say filter, not post name, filter, property, title, contains Donut Panic, right? And then, like, if I look at a bunch of these, you'll notice you can very clearly see the progression. If I go through these, let me just close the dialog on each one. So you can see these are all different progressions of a puzzle somebody's working on. Like, for example, initially they had the grid, then they removed the grid. Of these two, I wouldn't, like, this one has more detail than this one, but they're also changed. So I don't know if they're just designing it or, you know. So what I'd like to be able to do is take puzzles like these, group them together, and then basically diff between them, and then sort of figure out retrospectively, what is the evolution of the puzzle while it's being set. Yeah, well, I think we have a lot of other things to do before we do that. It's like in your case, you're not going to buy a gold gilded desk stand for your desktop when it's broken, and you might need to spend money on repairing it. All right. So this should have. Okay, let's see what we can do. Well, I guess this would be one set. Now, if I say, skip 100, limit. Let's see if we can do 1,000. And we run that. See what that looks like. And currently we have 100 of these, right? So in a moment there should be 1,000 of these. Because image similarity, for example, if you use computer vision libraries and so on, it'll give you different things. Something like your, different colored lines. Yeah, we can just, pre-filter the image, grayscale them, right? You can get similarity scores, so you can say, hey, how similar are they, right? Then group all the puzzles together that are very similar, and then put them in front of a human reviewer, that kind of thing. Like, I'm seeing a shrimp here. I wouldn't be surprised if these are all the same puzzle. And in fact, we might want to do this on the client, like say, hey, mark them as duplicated if they're. We could even, yeah. Anyway, so many things you can do with that. This doesn't take very long. We've got 1,100 now. We have 1,099. These are 1,000. These are 100. Oh, I think there must have been an overlap of one, and then it just overrode it because it had the same name. Yeah. And for example, if we take these and we'll sort them by size, that's already like a huge clue of identicalness, similarity. I can't make them bigger. Can't make them bigger because they're only 64 by 64. Yeah. But if I zoom in, I won't be able to go through them, huh? Yeah, like these are all the same. So many. And that's the other thing. I might actually want to hash the puzzles then. To say, hey, these are all the same. Saves a lot of space. Let's run the duplicate finder again. So we'll now found 221 duplicates of 130 files, right? So of these 1,100 files, there are actually only 130 unique files, right? This is 100% identical of the file. It's not even image comparison. It's just literally looking at the bytes of the files. These are all the same. So that'll be an interesting statistic as well. Like out of 100,000 puzzles, how many of them are visually identical versus not? Well, generating the unique ID is the algorithm, right? That's the algorithm I'm trying to build. And that's the thing, like, since I'm not storing puzzle data, I'm storing graphic data. Like, my puzzles are basically images, just in a weird format. Because I don't have any information about what the rules of the puzzle are. So I cannot have a constrained hash map or whatever. But I don't actually care about any of that stuff. Like, for example, what I was showing you just now, these versions of the same puzzle, like some of these aren't valid puzzles, right? Some of these don't have constraints, right? Because somebody's designing a puzzle, somebody's making up new rules, right? So what you're suggesting would never work for most of the puzzles in my database. Well, it technically would work for all the classics and all the pure killers and whatnot, but I'm not interested in making an algorithm that works for most puzzles that's complicated, and then I can't use it for all puzzles, right? I'd rather have a simpler algorithm that works for all puzzles. And that's kind of what I need to do. And generating the thumbnails and comparing them is much simpler for me. It's harder for my computer, but I don't care. All right, I'm just rambling now. It's already so late. I'm gonna call it a day, but I feel like I've made some progress at least. So the next step is to keep track of which files have been created and kind of make this automatic so I can just press a button, walk away, and come back in an hour and have it all done, right? I mean, I could probably, probably could even do 5,000. If I go, yep, 1,000, or skip 1,100, yeah, just skip 1,000, we'll do an overlap. Limit 10,000, right? Like if I do that now, and do that, now 10,000 might be tricky because we might run into memory issues, and I'm also showing them all in the DOM afterwards as thumbnails, so it might have trouble with that part of it. But I think it sends the results back before that happens. No, it's doing it afterwards. So of course, if it struggles with showing the thumbnails, right? Yeah. But it'll also, for example, do stuff like this. It'll find puzzles where there's an error, right? Now I have to see, is this an error with the new algorithm? And it very much looks like it. There we go. So maybe, you know, it's also a tool that helps me to test my engine. I'm gonna keep that open to remind myself. Let's have a look. What are we dealing with here? Is not iterable. Content loaded. Convert puzzle, undefined, not iterable. 2994. Is in cell. Called from 3010. Is in cell part.center. Cell part.center. So, feature check, circle, center, cannot read property symbol iterator. It's struggling on 2994 from 311. Is in cell part center check 0. Ah, wait a second. Check has check. Is array checks key. Ah, wait. Check. Key. Check. All right. Keyword errors. Isn't cell. Has feature. Isn't cell. True, false. True, false. Isn't cell. 312, I'm guessing, yeah. So is in cell art.center equals check 0. Is in cell check 0. Check 0 should be true. Does it not like check 0? Is that what it's struggling to iterate on? Or is it struggling on is in cell? I mean, it just looks at part.center. Part center. Is part not available here? Part is undefined. Feature check. Part. So that's our part. Circle arcs. Wait, what? Circle arcs. What? Wait a second, what the heck? Part. Circle arcs. Circle arcs. Okay, feature check is called where? Checker feature check. Let's see where we're getting called from. 3266. So it's here. Cell cosmetic features. Feature check cosmetic. feature check us. What? Fill cosmetic, circle, arc, center. So it's an array. So we get an array. So this is this cosmetic. Circle arcs. This looks weird. Is this a broken puzzle data? And I don't think it's breaking on anything that I've... In fact, yeah, let's check it with the online version of the site. It's probably broken there as well. Yeah, that's just broken. Okay, so this is just a bad puzzle. Why is this even in the database? It shouldn't make it in the database if it's the data is broken. Chunk the checks, so you can run multiple scans. I can do all sorts of things. But ultimately, I'd be testing one puzzle at a time. And I probably won't be doing like a full check of everything, right? Like, for example, you know, I could just check the color of the upper left pixel first, right? And only if that matches, then do you check the second pixel, right? So you can scan very fast. You don't have to do a full check against every thing. So you can kind of create hashes. You can create a rough hash with a lot of collisions. You make a first pass, and then for all the matches, only if you have a match against that, you do another pass, right? And that means likely the image check won't really happen until lots of other things happen first, right? For example, if two puzzles both have a 81-digit solution and the solutions don't match, then I don't have to run an image check. Oh, hey, Mark. Kinda. Sort of, I guess. Binary search tree, if you remember those. But I think this puzzle is just broken. I mean, it's coming out of here. Yeah, but this one, circle arcs, this is not a valid piece of underlaid data. It's a recent puzzle. Let me take a screenshot and ask Sirius Zemek if how that might have happened. Let me just post it here. All right. So, yeah, now I'm remembering. When I bring them in the database, I just check if they parse. I don't check if there's an error when they execute. So I'm assuming this puzzle has probably the setter realized there's an issue and then re-uploaded other versions of it. So if I search for it, I'll probably find a whole bunch, some of which probably work and some of which don't work, right? Now, of course, I cannot create images of puzzles that break in the engine. So So I'll have to deal with that on the browser side. Definitely been trying to get those lines to get fancier. Yeah, I'd love to have, like, for each puzzle, sort of a gallery of steps that we're used to create it. Let me see if there's something about the shrimp that I can identify. Shrimpo. The thing is, a lot of people who experiment and stuff, they don't use real puzzle names, so I can't use the name to differentiate them easily, which is really annoying. I wish they would create real puzzle name thingies. Nope, that's not helping. Can I get the file name? If I go into the database and I'll say ID object, boom. I think. Object ID. Okay. Yeah, it's untitled, but since you did something very specific with the shrimpy shrimp, maybe I can search for something that's unique to the shrimpy shrimp. Let's see if I can create a sort of like signature. I mean, I would assume, for example, these color values could be quite unique. So if I say puzzle data. Hey guys, hey Poochie. I'll stop the stream soon, Toby. Okay, and I'll say hello to you properly. Hey babe. I'm just winding up. All right, regex. Winding down, winding up. I'm not sure how it goes. Oop. If I do this, Mark, will I find... But this gives me good data. Why do not shorten? I like this. This gives me data. It doesn't find that? Do I need to do this? No results? Ah? Puzzle data. So surely that hash. Oh, because it'll be shortened. Ah, yeah, it won't have the hash. Ah, because that's the puzzle zipped. Right. So that should work. But it might get me a lot. 8. No, it gives me 8. So I strongly suspect these 8 puzzles are all shrimpies. Unknown, untitled. I wish people would use titles that I can, like, that they would have titles for, like, I wish I could force puzzles into, titles into puzzles, like, in progress 001 or whatever, like random ID. So then at least versions of that puzzle are all going to be groupable and not all anonymous. I hate anonymous puzzles. SudokuPad. So I do this, right? Here we got one shrimpy. Then I'm guessing this will be another shrimpy. Yeah, I guess they're all shrimpies. Hey, look. And I can do a little animation of progression. I'd love to be able to like offer people an animation of how the puzzle was set, or even to the setter and like, hey, you know, you want to use this for a video about your own setting process, etc. You know, let me see. I ran for 10,000 before. What happened with that run? Oh, okay. So we definitely need to. No, wait, that's not it. So it just fails completely on one error, huh? Ah. Gee, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. So we kind of want to figure out which puzzle that was for testing procedure purposes. So it's one of these 10,000. So if I add a number, processing, we want the ID here. But we also want to do let IDX equals 0, IDX plus plus. IDX. So if I do this, or this, and then rerun that, it should tell me where that broke. All right, I gotta call it a day here. Thanks for hanging out. Next week, I'm starting planning on SudokuPad 2.0. What that means, I'll know after next week. I'm gonna have to do a lot of work. All right, thanks for watching. I hope I'll see you guys in the next one. And I gotta think of some promo. It's already the 8th, and I wanted to get to 1,000 subs before the end of the year, and I'm running out of time. Good night, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.